जगदोधारिणी माता दुर्गा जगदोधारिणी जगदोधारिणी माता दुर्गा जगदोधारिणी जागो जागो मां जागो जागो मां जागो जागो मां जननी जागो जागो मां जागो जागो मां जागो जागो मां जननी
We could also do Kali Kali Mahakapali.
That's what that I don't know that I haven't through for today.
Okay.
Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanam. Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Rama Krishna Sharanam, Sharanam. कृपाहि केवलं कृपाहि केवलं कृपाहि केवलं शरणि कृपाहि केवलं कृपाहि केवलं कृपाहि केवलं शरणि प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरणागतोऽहं 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 प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरणि रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरणि नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो 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 श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो श्री गुरवे नमो नमो प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरणि प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरणि रामकृष्ण रामकृष्ण जय जय रामकृष्ण 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 रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरणि प्रभु रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं रामकृष्ण शरणं शरणि with the rooms and meditate to aspects.
Here's some of the things. Next. Okay, is that the speaker? Hello, we're just testing the system. Can you hear me? Chidbrahmananda. Okay, so now. Okay, we cannot hear you yet, so let me try to fix that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
All right.
Pranam, Swami, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, Bhagavan, good to see you. Good morning. I want everybody to notice how Brahmadas is sitting there so still. He's reached that state of absolute quiet.
Looks like he's in a Nirvikalpi Samadhi to me.
Probably, and he took the kitty right along with him.
He's probably already left his body.
Well, let's not say that.
That's why I'm here. To say Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Show me the way, Swami.
That's just the beginning, my friend.
We're excited about your upcoming visit, Swami.
Oh my gosh. I'm at least as excited, I think. I've never been to Atlanta. I've heard about you guys for a long time. I was a
Good things, I hope.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, if you think of devotees, you think of God. So that's. But
So is there anything particular in Atlanta that you've heard about that you would like to experience or do?
I know nothing of Atlanta. I that's a hard thing to say. I'm a Swami. I don't need anything. That's the right answer. Now that we've got that taken care of. No, I would just love to spend time with folks down there. There's a nice art museum. I love art. If there's a place to take a stroll, I love to take a stroll. I enjoy coffee and conversation with the devotees, but nothing special. Really, don't put together a schedule. Just a few casual, nice things that naturally follow one another will be fine.
Excellent. Well, Brahmadas is already thinking about plans for Stone Mountain. That's one of the things he seems to really appreciate being able to share with our visiting Swamis is a hike up Stone Mountain and just experiencing the wonder there.
Ah, cool.
Right. We went for a hike up Stone Mountain with Swami Chidbrahmananda, and then we did a meditation at the top of the mountain. So let me know if you're interested in that.
Oh, surely. That would be wonderful. That would remind me, gosh, of my beginnings. When I took my sannyas vows in 2012, a group of us brand new sannyasins went up to Mayavati. And every day we were there, we would take these morning hikes up into the hills and find just some sweet spot and sit there and meditate for the afternoon. It was wonderful.
Very nice. And Swami, where would we find the link for your Thursday evening class, Zoom class?
Yeah, there's many of them actually. If you go to onespirit.center,
okay,
and up on the top there's a menu, and you go to ongoing studies. That will open up a page that has all current classes on it, and also the links to the live sessions, and then a link to the archive if there's any of the classes you missed and wanted to go back and see.
Okay. One Spirit .center.
Yep.
And you spell it out, CENTER.
Yes, I didn't know at the time that you could do that.
Yes, and then you go to what place at the top?
There should be a menu bar. The problem is that for some reason, when the website displays on some browsers, it scrolls down exactly one line, so the menu is off the screen. And I've had so many people say, "Well, I can't find any other links." And you have to just scroll down one line, and then the menu appears. And one of the items is ongoing classes, and that has everything.
Ongoing classes. Okay,
yeah.
Great. Because we'll make that available, especially when you're there on that Thursday evening for folks to share in that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, surely. Good morning, Haima. Good to see you.
Good morning, Swami C. How are you?
I'm doing very well. To think we've traveled all the way to Atlanta together this morning.
I know. I'm always connected to Atlanta, mostly at 9 a.m. And I'm glad you're there today. You are on the Zoom, right? You're not in person there.
Yes, no, of course.
That's
I mostly exist on Zoom these days.
Yeah, that's much easier, less expensive, and everything.
It's true. I would love to be going around seeing everybody in person, though. There's nothing like in person.
Nothing like in person. You're right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to see you now, and then later on at Lafayette.
Yes, indeed, for sure. And everybody, all of you are welcome in Lafayette. Colorado, that is.
It's beautiful. It's nice. Yes, thank you so much.
Certainly. 9:02. Do we start on time at this center, or do we have
Oh, always. Brother Shankara, when he was there right on the dot at 9 a.m.
Oh, well, indeed.
Never, very punctual. Brother Shankara we miss him dearly.
Indeed.
Yeah, brother would just start chanting or praying like right middle of people talking, and everybody was quiet and it started.
Oh, what a good idea.
Someone at the center, Swami, will start with our opening chants as soon as they're ready.
There's somebody who would like to do the opening chant. And I'm at the center. Yeah, we are arranging for the opening chant.
Good morning, Jen.
Okay, we're starting the opening chant.
Om Sahana
Bhavatu
Sahano Punatu Sahaviryam Karvavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the divine being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the divine being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the
Together,
art.
the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us.
Om Shanti, Shanti,
Shanti.
Om peace, peace, peace be unto us all.
Hmm. Yes, beautiful prayer. There's something very important in there. You know, the love of the mother, the support of God, all of that is always with us. And when we're actually praying, and we list a fact of God out there, that prayer is to give yourself permission to experience it, to give yourself permission to open up to it,
Yes.
to let it reveal itself to you. There's no doing involved, and God never, oh my gosh, never withholds these things from us. It's a very important breakthrough in my spiritual life occurred when I realized I didn't have to beg God to love me. I just had to know that she did. And to settle into a knowledge is much easier than to generate a belief or to generate a good enough character that God could actually fall in love with it. It's all grace, you know, it's mother's promise to you that I am with you always. And all you need to do is be aware of that. And in the beginning, it seems like imagination, but it doesn't take long. If the effort is sincere and earnest, then it doesn't take long for mother to make herself a bit more than an imagination for you. So I wanted to talk this morning, this idea of an island in time. And this comes from a meditation that I had, probably in my whole life, probably 3 or 4 of them, where I felt like I just slipped out of time and meditated for a while. And when I looked at the watch, I was like, oh my gosh, really? That seemed like 2 minutes, you know, and it was longer. And so this idea of an island in time is what the cave of the heart is, what your inner shrine is. That when you have established within yourself this beautiful, sacred place of meditation, and you've gone there regularly and you've sat with your beloved there in that peace, trying to open up to the notion that you're already realized, that there's nothing to be done, that everything has been completed, and that really all you have to do is be able to accept it and to hold it within your own self. That's why we sit, that there isn't a doing when we meditate. There isn't a begging or an asking or any of that when we sit in practice. It's sitting in practice to experience the fact that we're already realized, to experience the fact that we already are what we are, that really what we have to do is silence the mind, because the mind keeps trying to tell you who you are. And the mind has to use language in order to tell you anything. And the problem with that is that you can't fit within language. You see, language requires actually mind, and therefore language require 3 sets of triads in order for it to be able to tell you something. It needs a past, present, and future, because sentences have to be spoken through time. It needs subject, object, verb, because that's how the language is put together. And it needs time, space, and causation, because the dictates of language require that. And so since you do not fit into any of those categories and cannot be described in any of those ways, we're quite a bit at a loss, because we don't know who we are. And when we go to the mind to find out, the things that the mind tells us can only be a string of limitations and restrictions, right? The mind can only begin describing you through the senses, because that's where the mind gets most of its impetus from, is from those senses. And so you cannot be described in that way. And that's why the only way we can know the self is through silence. So that in that inner silence, which is not just a quiet, it's a very pregnant silence, because it's the silence that allows for all sound. It's the silence that provides all space for objects. So it's a very full silence. It's a silence that is the very essence of wisdom. It's the very wisdom, very essence of the moment. That silence is the now. It is the I am. It is God. And in that silence, we become aware of what we are. And that cannot be spoken. We could not describe it to somebody else. We could not say, hey, I saw what I am today and I'm blah, 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 blah. You know, it would be like you would just be mute. That's what Ramakrishna said whenever he tried to tell us what his experience was in samadhi. He said it was like mother was standing on my tongue. I couldn't form words. I couldn't tell you. But that's because words and mind cannot contain the whole, right? The pure mind, at least impure mind. Pure mind can. Pure mind and Brahman. Pure mind and Brahman are one. Ramakrishna says. And I always bring that up because that was a startling statement to me. That pure mind and Brahman are one, and that means disturbed mind or mind with thoughts in it is Shakti. Right? And so the universe is actually created in your mind, and that's where you're living. You're living in your mind at this moment. And this mind is God. This moment is divine, is God. It is the I am of the Old Testament. It is being itself. It's awareness. So Ramakrishna says, or Vivekananda says, if you dare to declare that you are free, if you dare to declare that you are free, free you are this moment. If you say you are bound, well, bound you will remain. This is what Advaita boldly declares. I have told you the ideas of the dualists. You can take whichever you like. So this very moment that if in fact you could say with all of your soul, with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength, I'm free, which means you're actually giving yourself permission to lay down your past, to lay down your narrative of who and what you are, to lay down your desires of the future, to lay down your goals and dreams and ideas of what you want to accomplish. If you can lay down everything so that your hands are free, your proverbial hands are free you can be this very moment. You see, so your realization is not caught in time. It's not a matter of time. What's a matter of time is the earnestness that you have to pull together in order to surrender, to lay down all of the things that you're clutching and holding on to that are causing your misery, that are causing you to be stranded in ignorance. So you are free this moment. If you say you're bound, bound you will remain. Now, this is very important because it says that your stories, your narratives about yourself are very, very, very important. That's why I cringe when people tell me, oh, my mind is so noisy and I have such a difficulty meditating. Now, that person thinks that they're harmlessly just dictating the condition of their mind. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is you're creating a narrative of your karma. If you sit there and say that meditation is difficult, then that means the next time you sit down to meditate, you're starting off with the idea this is difficult. And it's going to be difficult, all right? Because you've written your story and now you have to live it. And this is why Vivekananda says, in the moment, always say to yourself, I'm ever free. I'm ever pure. I am born of the love of God. You know, I've never died. I will never die. I've never been born. I'll never be born. To live in the truth. You know, this is my opportunity to bring up another one of my overly repeated points, that there's only 3 things you can say about yourself, right? There's only 3 things you're allowed to say about yourself that are true. 1, I'm loving. 2, I am wise. And 3, I exist. Those are the only 3 things that you can say about yourself that are true. everything else that you want to say about yourself is coming from your attachment to body mind. I'm fat. Nope, that's the body. I'm angry. Nope, that's the mind. I'm lonely. Nope, that's the mind. You know, I'm sick. Nope, that's the body, right? And so we sort ourselves out that way. We come to know what it means to not be the body. That means I'm not sick. That means I'm not hot. That means I'm not cold. I'm not hungry. I'm not angry, right? And we know that we're not the mind. So what does that mean? Well, that means that I'm not feeling these feelings. I'm not thinking in these ways. I'm not making these plans, right? And this is how we renounce. We have to do that discernment first, right? Discernment and renunciation, the holy couple. That you cannot realize God, Ramakrishna says, without those two things. And what is that discernment? That discernment is really just the fun of knowing. It's going into yourself at this moment and experiencing your inner world and sorting it out. Okay, I'm the observer, and the nature of this observer is pure love, and the nature of this observer is infinite wisdom. I'm just observing because I am that awareness. I am that self. And you sit in that knowledge and you watch everything else. And then you can look through an angry mind. Oh, look, the mind is angry. I'm looking through it. That way you're not caught in the angry mind. You're observing an angry mind. It's like, oh, I'm horribly hungry. No, I'm not. I'm ever free and content, but my body is nagging me with hunger, right? Then you know it's the body's problem and not your own problem. And you'll take care of it when you take care of it. You don't, since it's no longer you that's hungry, you now have the wiggle room to do something about it when you're ready to do something about it. You don't have to run and feed this nagging camel, this farting camel, as Hafiz describes it. One of my favorite poems, he has a line in there, you know, that we have to cross this world being tied to the wrong end of a farting camel. And that's what body mind does to us. It's always exposing us to its wants, to its shortcomings, to its weaknesses, to its limitations and its restrictions. And as long as we're identified with it, we take on all of that stuff, take on the body's conditions, the mind's conditions. And then we become slaves because the body wants to sleep right now. And I don't want to sleep on that pillow. I want a bigger pillow. And so you have to go find the bigger pillow and you have to go make the bed and then you have to get your body comfortable and then you lay it down and it's like, I want water. Now you have to get up and go give the body a drink of water. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to go to sleep. I want to play another game. No, go to sleep. No, I don't want to. You see, your body is a toddler. Your mind is a toddler. And you are the unfortunate realized parent that has to raise them. Mm-hmm. And so you do that by paying attention. You can't take your eyes off that toddler for a second. He'll be under the kitchen sink drinking Ajax in no time flat, you know? So you also have to keep watch on this toddler of a body, because as soon as you take your eyes off of it, that thing will be running over there trying to find beer in the refrigerator or something crazy, you know? So, not that that's that crazy, but anyway, the notion is watch and be guarding of your mind, you know, so that the reason that you do that is because desires start as a little spark. They're not born as full adult desires. They're born as a little tiny spark. And most of the time we don't realize that. We don't see that in time, right? And they become a full state of mind before we deal with it. And then we're overcome. Then we're victims. And so we have to watch this toddler so that we can see the first time he puts his hand on that knob, on that that cabinet under the kitchen sink, you just walk over and distract him with a ball or distract him with a walk or, you know, something else to do. No, we don't go in that cabinet, right? So this is how we watch it. All right. So in this room, if this room is full of darkness for 1,000 years, all right, this again is telling us that this enlightenment is not a process. And it is, but it's not necessarily. It only is a process because you won't do it. You won't accept it. You know, you're like, oh no, I'm not realized. I'm not self-controlled. I can't just enjoy the presence of God. I've got to do at least 48 more lifetimes of severe practice before I get there. And now you've said it. Now you've created a narrative. And so in exactly 48 years, lifetimes of severe practice, you'll realize God, right? But he's saying, if this room is full of darkness for 1,000 years, and you come in and begin to weep and wail, oh, the darkness, when will this darkness vanish? Strike a match, and the light comes in a moment. What good will it do for you to think all of your lives, oh, I've done evil. Oh, I've made so many mistakes. It requires no ghost to tell us that. Bring in the light, and the evil goes in a moment, right? Build your character, right? What does it mean to build your character? It means obey your nature. Make sure that what you're doing is for the sake of love. Make sure that what you're doing is an expression of wisdom. Make sure that what you're doing is in the present moment, right now, that you're fully aware, fully present here with this person, with these people, with these ideas, with this effort, with whatever it is that you're doing. This moment is about presence. This moment is God. And that, when lived appropriately, becomes worship naturally, right? Naturally, worship is not a doing. Worship is what happens when the self is in the presence of the divine. You know, the worship happens. So don't sit around coming up with all the reasons that you're an awful person. Don't come up with the reasons. Don't state these narratives that you are then forced to live. Fill in the light. Bring in the light. I'm already realized, right? The apex of realization is to be what you are. It's not a difficult thing. It's not a weird thing. It's a natural thing. The thing that makes it difficult is you've developed so many bad habits, right? That's the effort. The effort's, undoing bad habits, not to realize God. You're already realized. You already are what you are. That divine light is waiting for you inside. Your first ecstasy is already packaged and ready to go in the shrine of the heart. It's just waiting for you to find it, right? Because what have you done? You've put your identity in mind. You've put your identity in the changing world. And so you're distracted constantly because the changing world changes. And the body experiences it and the mind sees it. But you are free from it. You are on the other side of the chasm. You cannot be touched by it, right? You can't get, it can have no effect on you. So knowing this, you're free. And you know this by remembering it constantly. When the mind starts playing the wrong track, you pick it up, put it in the right track. No, I'm ever free. I'm ever pure. And then when I sit down to meditate, I enjoy God's love immediately. If I sit there and think, oh, God's not present today, he's holding my sin against me. She won't come into the room because I'm impure. Well, that's going to be your truth because that's your narrative. But the reality is, if God left you for even the split of a second, you would cease to exist. So your existence is evidence that that is not true, right? If God left you for even the briefest moment, you would be in the deepest and darkest despair because for a moment you would exist in a place where there was no love whatsoever. You wouldn't even be able to survive it. So the fact that you know love, feel love, see love, and express love is your guarantee that Mother has not left you in this moment. And so you accept that. You open to that. And when the mind thinks that it's too impure, you bring in your knowledge of grace. Wisdom and realization always come through grace, not through my success or my accomplishment. And so you sit and you accept that grace. And you accept that grace fully and humbly with no egoism. And you enjoy it. You sit in the presence enjoying Mother. Bring in the light and the evil goes in a moment. Build your character and manifest your real nature, right? That love, that wisdom and being. The effulgent, the resplendent, the ever pure, and call it up in everyone that you see, right? And how do you call it up in everyone that you see? By assuming it about them every time you look at them. When you look at them, you don't see history. You don't see memory. When you look at them, you see the divine spark alive and manifesting Satchitananda in the moment, right? You look at them and you see an infinite capacity for love, an infinite potential for wisdom. right? You don't see people that you like and people that you don't like. You never make it, you never draw a narrative about that. That's a big important one. I tell that story too. I did that once. So I do that many times, but I became aware of it once. I was walking through the living room and I saw a devotee there, and they were fairly new and they had been consistently annoying. And I thought to myself as I walked through that living room, oh, I don't like that person. And as soon as I got through the door into the monastic area, I stopped because I heard those words and they hurt me for the first time. I was like, oh, mind, what have you done? You've now placed that person in a hole so that every time they see you, you make the assumption you don't like them. And they have to dig their way out of that without even knowing that that's how you view them. Do you see how you've ruined a beautiful thing? Up until this moment, you took that person as they were. Yes, they were annoying many times, but they always started from zero. They always started from free, right? So this is how we do that. We go around thinking the best of everyone. Holy Mother gives us another clue. She says, always remember the trifling good things that people have done for you. Try and forget their offenses. Try and forget their misbehaviors. See them and remember only the good things that they've done. Right? And this is how we build our character. This is how we manifest our Satchitananda. And it's done in the moment and in the moment only. There's nothing else but this moment. If you're meditating in order to achieve something in the future, forget it. You've just become spiritually materialistic. You're working for something outside of yourself. Your bliss is within you. It's existing right now. It's humming right now. You're not looking at it. Look at it. Go inward. Find the gems, Thakur says. Build your character and manifest your real nature. This effulgent, resplendent, ever pure. Call it up in everyone that you see. I wish that every one of us had come to such a state that even in the vilest human beings, we could see the real self within. And instead of condemning them, say, rise, you effulgent one. Rise, you who are always pure. Rise, you birthless and deathless. Rise, Almighty, and manifest your true nature. These little manifestations do not befit you. This is the highest prayer that the Advaita teaches. This is the one prayer, to remember our true nature, the God who is always within us, thinking of it always as infinite, almighty, ever good, ever beneficent, ever selfless, bereft of all limitation. And because that nature is selfless, it is strong and it is fearless. For only to selfishness comes fear. He who has nothing to desire for himself, whom does he fear? And what can frighten him? What fear of death is there for him? What fear has evil for him? You see, so this, just reading that, just makes me want to go back and read it again and again, and then just kind of wrap myself in it, right? And that's what we are. I mean, that's the process. We do read that again and again, and it does bring us to the realization that we are wrapped in it in this moment. This moment we are surrounded by God. This moment we know that light is love. So we have a physical manifestation of the love of God, nurturing everything, feeding everything, warming everything, right? So we have that experience of the moment. We know that God is this moment, and we're surrounded by that love. We're surrounded by that infinite grace. This is the effulgence. This is the light. This is the brightness. And we begin to carry it with us and inspire everyone around us, because I tell you, if you are thinking that way and you touch somebody, they'll get a shock of love from your hand. They will know that you dream for them. The Master, if a pea falls into filth, it grows into a pea plant nonetheless. M, yeah, but there's still the 8 bonds, right? The Master, well, they're not the 8 bonds, they're the 8 fetters. But what if they are? So what? That's not the point. The point of this is not to look at the fetters. You know, the point of this is to know it is all divine, know its nature. They're not the 8 bonds, they're the 8 fetters. But what if they are? these fetters fall off in a moment. How? This is very important. How? By the grace of God, right? By the grace of the divine, these fetters fall off. And how do you get the grace of God? You accept the grace of God. You raise your sail, which means you do your very best at the yamas and the niyamas. You do your best to do your practice and to place yourself in the presence of Mother so she can change your diapers. You know, this is how you do it. You just simply place yourself in the presence and keep going forward. It all comes by the grace of God. You know what it's like. Suppose a room has been kept dark 1,000 years. The moment a man brings light into it, the darkness vanishes. It's not process. If someone asks you, when will you realize God? And you say, oh God, I've got lifetimes. Okay. Now you've got lifetimes, right? So when someone says, when you realize God, say, I'm already realized. I just haven't seen it yet. We're working on it. Mother's removing that at this very moment. You know, and so because your realization will always be now, it's not coming, and nothing comes in the future. This moment, your practice is about this moment, right? Your practice is about this moment only. It's not about tomorrow. It's not about fixing yesterday. It's about right now, enjoying the presence of God and allowing yourself to do that, because you're identified with the mind that says, no, you have to be this way, and this way, and then God will manifest himself or herself to you. No, you have to do this, this, and this. Why is it saying that? Because that's what ego does. Ego tells you what to do. Ego is the one that saves you, it says, but it's the one that's binding you to these actions that are for results. There's no results in practice. There's just being and opening constantly to let that light of love shine in, to let it get past all of the reasons that the mind is going to try and put up to block it, to try and open the heart, no matter how much it's trying to defend itself because of the guilt it feels for having loved the wrong things or in the wrong ways. It's just opening that up and being very, very sweet all the way through and saying, mind, don't worry. The Mother has said that she's done this for you. Let her do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Don't be resentful. Just be at peace. Let her touch you. Let her feel you. Don't accept anything else, and walk the toddler through. Bring the toddler home. Befriend your mind. Your mind will one day follow you in great joy as soon as it comes to trust your consistency in pointing it in the direction of love and wisdom over and over again. So they're not bonds, they're fetters. But what if they are? They fall off in a moment by the grace of God. The moment a man brings light into this dark room, it vanishes. Not little by little. Haven't you seen the magician's feet? He takes a string with many knots and ties one end to something, keeping the other in his hand, and then he shakes the string and once or twice, and immediately all the knots are undone. Right? So you see what he's saying. This isn't about process. This isn't about time. This isn't about work. Right? This is about letting the light in and just not accepting the mind's blockages, the body's blockages, because they are not who you are. You are the unchanging, ever-free heir to infinite bliss. It's not something you beg for. It's something that is yours. M. Time is endless, though limited. Eternity is the split moment of the now. We miss it because the mind, this is not M, this is Maharaj from Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. So he's saying time is endless, though limited. Eternity is in the split moment of the now. Right? Did you hear that? Eternity is in the split moment of the now. Yeah, you can experience this, It's not just a piece of philosophy. If you can go into a meditation and let the mind silence, even for a moment, if you can get it quiet, you'll have a meditation at some point where it goes on for a long time. And when you come out of that meditation, you swear that only 2 minutes passed, 5 minutes passed, you know, at most, even though 2 hours has passed. Because time has no reality. You know what time is? Time is the rate of thinking. When there's no thinking, there is eternity. When there's thinking, there's bondage, there's time, there's karma, right? And so you carry your own eternity within you, and you can experience it at any time. That's where you will be sitting when the body drops, right? And so know that, and practice sitting there now, right? Practice imagining the body dropping, right? The limitations falling away, the restrictions, this heavy fat thing that's followed you around your whole life. Finally, you get to take it off and hang it up and run around free for a moment. All right. So the time is endless, though limited. Eternity is in the split moment of the now. We miss it. Why? Because the mind is ever shuttling between the past and the future. All right. That's why we miss it. Why is the mind shuttling between the past and the future? I've said this at least 12 dozen times, maybe not to you guys, though. What is the past composed of? Bhagavan, you know this one. What is it?
It's just memories, thought.
It's attachments.
Yeah.
All of your memories are things that you tried to grab out of the flow of time and give your immortality to them by remembering them. You didn't want to let go of them. You wanted them to be a part of you. And so they've become a part of you as your memories, as your samskaras, right? So your past is just your collection of attachments. And what do? Attachments make the moment look like it's not enough, because you remember pizza's delicious, and then you look at the moment, there's no pizza in it. Oh my God, this moment can't be perfect unless there's pizza in it, right? So now what do you have to do? Now you have to create a future. All of your desires are stored in the future. That's why you created it, because now you have to come up with a process to manifest your attachment in the moment. And that's your future. So your past is all of your attachments. Your future is all of your desires, all of the things that are going to fix the moment. And the moment, you're just bouncing back and forth, right? Never experiencing the now, always experiencing the what I'm going to get from the what I used to have into this moment where there's no space to put anything. There's nothing to be collected, nothing to be taken from this world. So we miss it because the mind is ever shuttling between the past and the future. It will not stop to focus on the now. It can't. It doesn't even know about the now, right? It's always just doing something for something, which is future, right? If you live in the future, you're an anxious person. That's where anxiety comes from. When you live in the future, for the future, anxious. Why? Because you can't control the future and you're depending on it. So it's going to be very anxiety inducing. If you live in the past, you're the resentful kind, you know, the regretful kind. It's like, oh, I should have. Oh, I wish I could have. Oh, I wish I was. That's living in the past. The only way to be joyful is to be present and to be aware of the divine image that's manifesting in you right now. To take that divine image as your constant companion, always singing of a pure love that's motivating everything that you do, always singing of a divine wisdom that's informing everything that you do. So a questioner asks Sri Nisargadatta, well, what about cause and effect? You know, what about these things? Maharaj, each moment contains the whole of the past and creates the whole of the future, right? So that's knowing that this moment right now contains all of your past. This moment is the sum total of your desires throughout a countless history that have brought you here and now. Are you happy? Are you content? Are you full? Then change your desires, because it's the desires that have brought you here. Let go. This moment is free. It's undefined. It's always new. And what does that mean? You don't have to carry your past into it unless you want to. You don't, because you've done this before doesn't mean you have to do it again. Because your life is the way it is does not mean that it has to stay that way. In this moment, you are free. You can walk out your front door and walk in a straight line for the rest of your life if you want to. You can go outside and never return if that inspires you. Give yourself that freedom. Give yourself that permission, because that's the reality. And that way you can transcend. That way you can grow. That way you can find your freedom. Express that freedom. Each moment contains the whole of the past and creates the whole of the future. But past and future exist? Maharaj, oh, in the mind only. Time is in the mind. Space is in the mind. The law of cause and effect is also a way of thinking. In reality, everything is here and now, and everything is one. Multiplicity and diversity are in the mind only. Wow. That's amazing. That's an amazing thing, right? These things, time and space, in the mind, cause and effect, just a way of thinking. In reality, everything is here. Everything is now. There's nothing outside of it. Your whole past and all of its memories are merely conceptual. They have no reality, no existence to them. All of your ideas and cherished hopes for the future, conceptual. They have no existence. They are not real, right? The only thing ever that's real is now. The only place that ever exists is here, because you will never be any place other than here, and you will never be at another time except now. So if your plans involve anything other than now, they're doomed. They cannot happen, right? Because you're not the doer. You're the observer of a show about pure love. And your life is one line in that novel of pure love. Your life is one way that God can describe love, through the limitations and restrictions of a mind like yours. But every life is a line of love in the book of life, as it were. So everything, time, space, causation, they're all in the mind. Multiplicity and diversity, only in the mind. We're dealing with a singularity, and we experience only a singularity. That's the funny thing. We think about it and make it look very complicated, but we've never had anything but this moment. We've never had anything but this moment, right? So where else can anything be but in this moment? It's the only thing that's real, and it doesn't change, right? In a moment, where is there space for changing? What changes is the mind's snapshots of it, right? The mind takes a snapshot of the moment, and then it takes another snapshot of the current moment. It looks at them and says, hey, these are different, right? I don't think they're the same, because the mind can't see the whole picture. So it sees them as different, and then it creates its own narrative. This is how the difference happened. This is how it happens, and this is what it means. And that is your own personal Maya. The stories you tell yourself that link your past to the present and indicate your future from the present. Those are your delusions. Be here now, and all is well. Still, the questioner says, you're in favor of relieving suffering, even through the destruction of the incurably diseased body. Maharaj, again, you look from the outside, while I look from within. I do not see a sufferer. I am the sufferer. I know him from within and do what is right spontaneously and effortlessly. I follow no rules. I lay down no rules. I flow with life faithfully and irresistibly, right? Seeing the world from inside out, very important thing, right? It's one of those things I like to talk about, because when you think of yourself, it's such an odd thing that you think of yourself from the outside in, right? Sri Nisargadatta says that all unenlightened people describe themselves from the outside in. That's who they think they are, because they think they're a body. They think they're a mind. So you describe from outside in, you know. But he says the enlightened soul describes himself from the inside out, right? Try and describe yourself from the inside out right now. You run into some infinities right away. You run into boundarylessness right away, right? You run into, it really has to do with how much time you've spent in there. Because when you first go in there, you're like, huh, I don't see anything in here. What am I doing in here? It's quiet, empty, and bushy and red. There's nothing else here. But in time, the whole universe unfolds in there. In time, as you get the inner eye opened, you begin to see these are the boundaries of mind. These are the boundaries of body. This is me with no boundary. And you begin to understand, I am Satchitananda. I am a divine principle that doesn't move, but inspires. Right? That principle is me. That principle is Satchitananda. And it's unmoving, unchanging. Why? Because it's perfect. It's utterly balanced. It's utterly stable, utterly secure. And if I hold myself there, I can watch this changing world with a wry smile of amusement as I watch Mother play, knowing it has nothing to do with me. I am the container of all possibilities. I am the potential of a divine and infinite love, right? And we come to know this. We come to live like this. Indeed. Maharaj, once you are inwardly integrated, outer knowledge comes to you spontaneously. At every moment of your life, you know what you need to know. In the ocean of the universal mind, all knowledge is contained. It is yours on demand. Most of it you may never need to know, but it is yours all the same. As with knowledge, so it is with power. Whatever you feel needs to be done happens unfailingly. No doubt, God attempts this business of managing the universe, but he is glad to have some help. When the helper is selfless and intelligent, all the powers of the universe are for him to command. Do you hear that? When the helper is selfless and intelligent, all the powers of the universe are at his command. How does that happen? You know, how is that? It's because God's mind is your mind when it's pure, right? And so the desires of the universe are your deepest desires when you're pure. And when the universe desires something, it happens. You know, we look at Ramakrishna, the one experience, the one event that happened to him that illustrates this is when he wanted to build that fence around the Panchavati at Dakshineshwar. And he had that desire in his mind, and he walked outside, and instantly all of the tools and supplies necessary for building that fence washed up on the banks of the Ganges. And we look at that and we think, oh my God, a miracle. Look, everything washed up magically on the beach. That's an incredible thing. I hope that I can be like Thakur someday and be so powerful that my thoughts happen, right? Well, in fact, what's happened is that Thakur has surrendered all of his independent individual thoughts that are tied to this particular. And he has become the universal. He's become what he is. And so when the universe wants to build a fence around the Panchavati, Ramakrishna simultaneously wanted to build that fence because he had no desire of his own, no fences in his mind at all. And so the universe did what it always does. It obeyed the rules. There was no miracle. The universe always does exactly what it wants to do in the moment. God always manifests. When you're pure, your mind is in harmony with that pure mind, with that universal mind. And your will, you begin to see it spontaneously happening around you. You talk to people and they say, oh my God, I've been wondering that. And you just said it. I didn't even know. It's, you know, these synchronicities begin to happen. You begin to see them and know them, and you begin to see, oh, wow, I never was the doer as an ego self. That's why I was so frustrated. None of the tools ever washed up on the beach for me to build my television. You know, why is that? Because you were using a selfish part of yourself, a small part that had almost no power at all, the power of egoism. Can't do anything, right? It's the power of one person. If you live in that world, you're eternally frustrated, right? You're small and weak and helpless. Nothing seems to go right. It's because you haven't heard who you are yet. You haven't heard the song of Chidbrahmananda that's playing inside. When you hear that song and you begin to dance to it, then it manifests everywhere. And it's quite lovely, quite beautiful. It can take a mind that has been deeply depressed and set it free. It can take a mind that's deeply anxious and give it peace, because you come to know, I am everything. I am the infinite potential, and I cannot be harmed. The moment is the only tool of the aspirant. This moment is all you have, right? Don't waste it. Don't look past it to a future. Be here. Take care of this moment. This moment is your relationship with God, and your relationship with this moment is your relationship with God. So if this moment is not content for you, work on your relationship with God. Don't go look for objects of desire to fill the hole with. Be present and go and look for God within. This moment is God. And in this moment, you should always find the deepest contentment, the deepest sense of bliss, the deepest sense of purpose and wonder in this world, the deepest meaning of life. It's here. The only reason we don't see it is because we're not paying attention to it. What are we paying attention to? To the flickering, shining thoughts that ride through the mind at every moment. We follow them, create states of mind with them, create dispositions with them, build stories and live them with it. But all in the world of the changing, which has no reality, no existence. See things as they are. And to do that, be silent, be free, be in the moment, and wake up and enjoy. Enjoy the rest of it. All right, we'll stop there. As a random place to stop. If anybody has any questions or comments or helps or notes from your practice that have been wonderful that I could learn from.
Swami, could you expound on the connection between the attachment and the memory, creating the illusion of the past?
Yeah. Well, that's really all it is. As this moment comes, you have a big piece of fried chicken, and you're like, oh, doggone, that chicken was the best piece of chicken I've ever had, right? And what do? You don't forget it. You put it in your mind. And then you tell somebody tomorrow, oh my God, yesterday I had the best piece of chicken I've ever had. Oh, where was it? Oh, it was at this place at such and such and such. Oh, let's go there. Okay, Friday. You want to meet Friday? We'll go get that chicken Friday. And you see how just a thought of chicken, the experience of chicken became the thought of chicken, which became a cycle that ran in your mind, which then became behavior, became an activity, became a plan, became something that puts your mind into the future, right? It's very important to understand this world can give you nothing but hunger. Have that piece of cake. It's just going to make you want another one. Enjoy that moment of pleasure. It's just going to make you to want more. Buy that car. It's just going to make you need another one. There is nothing in this world, no desire in this world can give you anything but hunger. That's what discernment teaches. And through that, you renounce. You don't renounce the things you love the most. You have to look at them long enough to realize they're not what you love at all. And then you renounce them. And then the bad habit stops. And then you realize you have loved one thing and one thing only in your life, and that love is love. And you look around and you're like, how could that not be? How could I have forgotten that? It's in every song. It's in every novel. It's in every book. It's in every single poem that mankind has ever written. They are all about this quest for love, the pains of losing it, because love is what you are. So you go through life, you collect these trinkets, these things that reminded you of love, people, places, experiences. You remember them, but all they are the symbols of the love you felt in that moment. They are not the love itself. So they become attachments. You place them in your mind and you think of them and you think that they are the thing itself, and you need time with mother to feel love. You need time with your dog to feel cared for. All of these things, instead of accepting the fact that they exist already in there. Everything that you loved in your mother and your father came out of you, right? It came out of you. That's why you loved your mother and father, and I didn't love your mother and father because I was busy loving my mother and father, right? So these are attachments. When we think that the thing itself exists in an object, we attach to it, right? And when we attach to it, we give it sentience, we give it existence, we give it love, we give it wisdom, and we go on. Yes.
I have a question. I so much understand and appreciate the wisdom, I would call it nuggets of wisdom that you are giving us moment by moment. My question is, when I am by myself, I am the master of how I see everything. I am in the moment, as you were talking about. But what happens when you run into somebody or when you communicate with other people who are not at the same level of spiritual pursuit or spiritual sadhana? How do we deal with a person who is totally on the opposite side, or a toxic personality? How then we keep our balance? And we cannot help avoiding certain people who are daily in our life. But then you have to be so self-aware every time. But then that balance is toppled by another person. How do we handle that kind of situation?
Yes, the age-old question. Yeah, and it's you just do it.
I want some.
Yes, there's some ways to play with it. You see, when you're enjoying God,
yeah,
when you're in meditation and you're enjoying the play of the bliss, the presence of the beloved, you see God is spending time with that toxic person. You are that toxic person, the person with all kinds of wrong ideas and wrong thinking and whatnot. But you're sitting there enjoying the love of God. When you are with a toxic person, that's your opportunity to be God to that person, to be the source of grace to that person, to be the source of encouragement to that person, to place that person in a position where all they are feeling coming from you are empathy, encouragement, love, hope, forgiveness, grace, kindness. That's your opportunity to give it. And so really all you have to do when you're with that person is remember what it was like to be with mother, and then just do your best. Or even better, give that little wink to mother, see her on your shoulder and say, mother, this one's for you. I'm gonna step aside here. You talk to this person, use my mouth, use my face, use my body, but I'm just going to be silent. You deal with them,
Swami, like what Mother Teresa said, when they asked, like, how do you deal with all the, people that, leprosy and whatever. And she said that I view them as just another distressing disguise of the Lord. And so just view those people as the Lord in a distressing disguise, a clever disguise.
Yeah, that is the answer. Of course, that's what we're really asking, though, is how to enact that answer, right? And to do that, you have to see these things in yourself. What you see in yourself is what you will see in everyone else. If you believe yourself to be a body mind and to have all these faults and good attributes as well, then you're going to project them, because we don't have access to each other's mind. We just have access to the visuals of their body, right? And so they smile and we think, oh, well, when I smile, I feel this way. So that's what they're thinking. Oh, look, their nose just went up. When my nose goes up, that means I don't like it. So they don't like it. But it may not be accurate at all. You know, it may not be accurate at all. And so the first thing you have to do is learn to treat yourself like you want to treat others. So make sure that the voice in your mind, the way you talk to yourself, make sure that voice is respectful. Make sure that voice is always encouraging. Make sure that voice is always on your side, that it always hopes in you, that it always believes in you, that it always trusts in you, that it knows you can do this. You know, it's the voice that reaches down to pick you up and says, you're all right. Love's going to win here. Let's just get up and go again. So
we have a question from the center. Sorry, Kevin. We have a question from the center. Is this
okay?
We can just stop. Yeah.
Master Swamiji, thank you for the talk. I had a question on, I understand that I am pure love. I understand that I exist, but how am I infinitely wise?
Yes, well, wisdom, it comes through silence. You know, wisdom is not a relative knowledge stored in the mind. Wisdom is in the moment, in the being. And when you have silenced mind enough, which means that you've let go of egoism enough, you know, Ramakrishna says it's almost impossible for a normal person to let go of it completely. But we at least get it silent enough to where there's some quiet in there, some peace in there. And in that peace, there's a knowing, right? In that silence, there's a knowing. When God answers prayer, it doesn't come to you as words. It comes to you as a knowing. When you ask God, what should I do? Should we go here or there? You know, Brahmananda would never made a move without the direct permission of God. And the brahmachari that he told that to said, well, of course, all of us feel that way. You know, we all think God is talking to us. And Brahmananda gets very grave and looks at him and says, no, I talk to God and God talks to me. And the student says, really? I mean, God speaks with you? God. And Brahmananda says, truly, I tell you, God speaks to me. You know, that speaking though comes, you see, when we speak, it's very odd, because I have all kinds of images in my mind, things that I've read, experiences I've had, and I'm telling you about it. I can't give you any of the real stuff. I can't give you any of the important stuff. All I can give you is some sounds out of my mouth. You know, oh, I did this, and then this happened, and I saw this. And the best you can do is take all of the stuff you've experienced and rummage through that and say, okay, well, this sort of aligns with that. And okay, well, this is sort of must be what he's talking about there. And you hope that you understand me, and I hope that I have communicated with you. But with divine knowledge, with like a vision, or with a divine, when you ask God and sit in silence for an answer, it doesn't come in words. It comes with the whole package. And the experience of it for us is like, oh my God, I always knew that. How did I not know that? It's always that experience, you know, because God gives you the whole thing, so that all the memories that were involved in what he's trying to talk about, if that's the case, everything I'm just saying, everything that he puts into a word comes with that word when it's from God. And so God, when you're having a conversation with God, it's you saying something and then you understanding something that you thought you've always known. You're like, oh my God, I've always believed that, but I could never have said it. You know?
Pranams Maharaj, just wanted to know, because in order to stay in the present, if I understand correctly, we have to have a pure mind. When you say pure mind is thoughtless mind, am I right to that point? So,
yes, but you've never been anywhere but the present. So it's not that you have to work at staying in the present, right? You just have to work at realizing you're in the present, being aware of being in the present. So it's not a doing, it's an undoing of distraction. And that distraction, it's not that the mind becomes quiet in the moment when you're experiencing the present. It's that the mind becomes quiet and you experience the moment.
But in order to see, even Krishna said the mind is so fickle and it just keeps going. Even if you try to do, make it silence, it is very difficult. So,
well, do you know why it's difficult? What's one of the first things Thakur tells us multiple times? You are not the doer. So if you are not the doer and you're going to try and make your mind quiet, good luck with that. You're not the doer. And what does mother say? It's not your job to change your diaper. It's my job. So you sit there in the presence of the mother with your messy mind and you surrender it to her. You don't pay attention to it. You don't go in there and get interested in what it's thinking and what it's putting there. You keep your eyes on the mother. She's the present. She's the moment. She's the unchanging. You keep your eyes on her and let the mind do what it does. It's not your problem. It's mother's problem. Let her fix it. That's why you're in her presence. That's why you're there. So stop trying. If you jumped into a swimming pool and you stayed in the water and you tried to calm all the waves, good luck. Never do it, right? Because you're the one causing the waves by being in the pool. If you want the pool to calm, get out of it. Become uninterested in it. Go away for a few minutes, come back, the pool will be calm. It's the same with the mind. You can't calm the mind by jumping into it and trying to do things as a non-existent doer. You can only calm the mind by getting on the edge of it and watching it in the company of the mother, because that company of the mother will keep you tuned to the present. She is the present moment. The thought of her, the mention of the mantra, that is the present moment. You stay with that and you keep all of your interest in that. Let the mind be. Let it do what it's going to do. When it realizes you're not interested in it, it'll calm down. It'll stop trying to dance for you, right? It's your interest in the mind that distracts you, not the mind itself, not the condition of it itself. It's your interest in it. And your interest in it is because you're attached to it. You think that those are your thoughts. So naturally, you're interested in them. You think those thoughts are about you. So you're naturally interested in them. But they are not your thoughts, and they are not about you. And they are not so very different from everybody else's thoughts, right? The mind just creates one thought after another, born out of the previous thought. This is how you know that they're not your thoughts. If they were your thoughts, you could think any thought you want, but you can't. Every thought you have has to be born of the previous thought. That's how you know it's not you. It's the organ of the mind excreting thinking. That's all it's doing. It doesn't have a rhyme or a reason. You give it that rhyme or reason, and that is your ego story, your narrative. But independently, they mean nothing. It's just noise, reflections of love, arbitrary, constant reflections of the true nature.
Thank you.
Swami,
Yes.
it's Jyoti here. I just wanted to make the announcement before you had to jump off and they closed the meeting to everyone that's online and in person that Swamiji will be with us in person he's arriving on the 21st and he will be with us through the 25th, Monday morning. So there will be a potluck supper and informal question and answer on Friday night, the 22nd. And then on the 23rd, time and topic still in the works, but a half-day retreat. And then on Sunday, Swami will give the 11 o'clock talk and we will have a potluck supper after lunch after that. I just wanted to get that in before we closed.
All right. Yes. The topics, which I have to decide how many talks to put it into, which I'll converse with you about, Jyoti, but it'll be kind of drawing it all together, seeing the flow of life as religion, dealing with the noisy mind, and finding your way to the shrine.
Oh,
Elizabeth, can you put it on the email?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll tell Jyoti, and she'll put out the announcement. She asked me for it, and I'm, as always, a little bit behind the curve.
We are ready here for the closing
Well,
prayer.
Uma, I will go ahead and email that to you so that you can put it on your calendar, honey. I'll do it as soon as we get off the meeting.
All right.
Thank
Ready
you.
for
Close the
the
meeting with ancient prayer for peace. Let
All
there
right.
be peace in outer space.
let there be peace in
And
our
peace in outer space.
Let there be peace in the sky, on the earth, and in the waters.
Let there be
Let there
peace.
be peace in the sky, on the earth, and in the waters.
Let there be peace in the herbs, the plants, and the trees.
Let there be peace in the herbs, the plants, and the trees.
May the gods be peaceful.
May the gods be peaceful.
May the whole universe be pervaded by peace.
May the whole universe be pervaded by peace.
May the whole universe be pervaded. Let this infinite universal peace
Universal peace.
prevail throughout my being.
Let this infinite universal peace prevail throughout my being.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace be unto us and all the beings everywhere.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you, Swami.
Go forward. Don't stop. Your freedom is inevitable.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Amen.
Amen.